bringing in the money for everything.
But I don't think that if a lady is in love, truly, genuinely in love, and decides to assist or even foot the bill, it doesn't make her somebody who's desperate.
I am not passing judgment on anybody, but I'm telling you that people marry for all manner of reasons.
Yes.
And so some marry because they think that they have expiry dates and they've gone past their expiry dates. These days, people will tell you that, even if you give birth after the age of 30 or something, the children might be deformed or something, blah, 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 which I don't even know what scientific basis it is for. And so they are desperately looking for people to get married.
I hear you.
They get an opportunity. They are not going to scan the environment for any signs. They go in and they get married.
I hear.
So if I have an ex, perhaps for some reason the ex is not ready to get married. So I want to get married badly, but he's not ready. There's somebody who is ready, but I don't love him.
Or maybe the ex or somebody is somebody who is already married, so you could not marry the person.
Yes.
But you still have affection for.
Yes. So I'm not ready, but there's somebody who is ready, but I love you, and so I want to have a last bite before I, move on to eternal complexity.
Confinement.
Happens. Seriously, happens. It's not something we're making up. It happens. And so they go in for the last bit. It might not be specifically a day before the wedding. It might be, the moment you announce the dates, okay, they go in and out, and then the lady gets pregnant.
James, you guys are into the movie industry, and I know that to a large extent, some of the things that we see on the screens are things that happen in real life. Now, from where you sit as a producer, as a scriptwriter, a director, and all that, have you chanced across some of these things yourself?
Of course. I've seen a lot.
Now, you've seen a lot,
yes,
of people who, just before they get married,
the
last bite.
Yes, the last bite.
What is the reason? If you've seen a lot, I'm sure that you might have asked a few questions. What is the reason they give for doing such a thing?
Several reasons.
Such as?
Some of them are for fun.
Fun?
Yes. You might not believe it, but I'm telling you, it's for fun.
Wow.
The fun that we are doing it for the last. Some of them, they are getting married. I will term it marriage of convenience. It's for convenience of getting married that they are passing their prime, and for that reason they have to get settled. Family pressures, economical reasons,
James,
a whole lot of reasons.
The same person, this act you are about, you want to engage in, you refer to as your very last one with this ex or this person that you're in love with. It's sex anyway.
Yes.
So when you enter the marriage, wouldn't you have many of it? Wouldn't you have loads of it from your husband, from your wife?
David.
Then there will be nothing like infidelity because there will be there will be nothing like that.
So which means whoever it is you want to go and marry, you don't love the person.
Not that I don't love the person. I told you some of them are just for the fun of it.
And for the fun of it, James, are you therefore suggesting that they have no fear of being caught? You've done preparations, you've made preparation plans. You've gone so far, a day before the wedding, you decide to go and have what? Fun, like
yes,
you claim it to be.
Yes.
What if the person finds out?
The person will never find out.
Reverend Vincent Akwa joins us, and he has this beautiful smile on his face. Rev, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, David.
I know that, when I spoke to you about this subject last week, you mentioned to me that indeed it is common. You mentioned that it is happening. Now, James says they do it for fun. And he also added that they will not be caught. From what you said as a counselor, I don't know whether you've counseled people like that before, but is it true that they do it for fun? And is it true that they are not caught?
The second question, that they are not caught, you cannot say they are not caught. Some of them, even though they are not caught, they have their conscience to deal with.
Conscience, okay.
Yeah. And as for the reason why they do it, I agree with James. For some, it is just for the fun of it. Sometimes, too, it is because most of the time, okay, sometimes, because the man feels that the man knows that I'm not going to marry you. It may be even somebody's husband, but he agrees to the fact that you need to go and marry. But then, before you go, it's just like you are traveling outside to a country that you know you will not get fufu to eat. And you decide that before I travel, let me eat all the fufu that I can, because I know for the next 3 years that I'm out there, I'm not going to get fufu. It's the same mentality that some people apply here. So some can be for fun. Some can be, it's like you are paying me off.
With the sex.
Yeah, with the sex, yeah.
But again, help me with an answer to this question. Does it end there? When they say for the last, before you marry, does it really happen that it's for the last, or when they enter the marriage, they still continue?
Some do not. In fact, there's a case that I'm handling at the moment. I mean, it has not. The man is still chasing the woman for more, and the woman has said that, is saying that that was not the agreement.
Erastus, I mean, I know there are people who have had, lovers in their past. I mean, they have lovers in their past. It could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 10. Do you have lovers in your past? Sorry for being personal. Do you have lovers in your past?
Myself?
Yes.
Lovers in the past?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, out of the number, whether 2, 3, or 4, is there any
I'm
amongst
not going to tell you how many.
Okay, fine. I'm not asking. I'm not asking how many. But is there anybody amongst the 3 or 4 that you still have love for? You still have some feelings for?
No.
None of them?
No. One thing with me is that we break up. That's it.
James?
There's no going back.
There's no going back.
There's
James?
nothing like it.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in your past that you still have some feelings for?
No.
Are you ready to some Mokasa and I said no?
No. Dave.
No, but you know me.
No.
Me, I don't hide
No,
my
Dave.
feelings.
I would say the immediate past before my marriage, my wife knows her very well, and we are still good friends. She's even become a friend to my wife, and she knows that.
Same as mine. Same as mine.
But Rev, I mean, people move on, and people enter relationships, get out of relationships, and all that. Is it very normal that you've broken up with somebody, but you still have feelings for that individual?
Oh, it can happen. It's too difficult for me to say very normal, but it can easily happen.
But if it happens,
the reason why that relationship broke.
Okay.
I remember an issue, a case, that's quite some years ago, where the lady called me. It was a man that called me, that the lady has admitted. But when we met, the lady was telling me that this was not the man I wanted to marry. I would like to give the reason why on air. But so my family members forced me into this one.
Okay.
But there was one I really wanted to marry. And so the truth is that anytime that man comes around and he needs me, I'll be available.
The ex needs her.
Yes.
She'll be available.
Yes.
Wow.
So there are some people that they have entered into a marriage relationship that they really don't want that place. They've been forced there. So they are not enjoying the place. I'm not saying it is right. I'm not saying that's what they're supposed to do. But that is what is happening to them. And for them, they think that if I can get satisfaction from somewhere else, then let me do it. But you see, the reason why I think God encourages us not to get ourselves involved in these things, sexual unions,
premarital,
when we are not married, is for some of these things. Because if you met the person, you were in love, you didn't go anywhere with that person, you won't be tied. There won't be any hook. There won't be anything that will be trying to take you back to that place. So it is always better when you were friends. You were hoping that we're going to marry, but we didn't do anything that we're not supposed to do. It is always better if you can handle like that.
Erastus, to you as a man, will it be a big deal to you if you find out after years of marriage that this is what happened?
Yeah, it will be a big deal. It will be a big deal, especially in my case, knowing that I left off a relationship, and since then I've been truthful to myself and to you that I'm going to get married to you, and so I've stayed like that for a long time. It won't be easy. It's not easy, I would say. And then I find out that you went that, let me use this word advisedly, cheap in that fashion. It will break my heart. In fact, it will make me lose trust for you. The whole thing, I can forgive you, yes.
And continue the relationship?
And continue with it, but the
marriage?
trust will not be there.
How can you relate to somebody?
Especially when I will now start going back to this person and start monitoring you, whether the two of you are still very close and what is happening between you and everything that comes between that involves that person. Whatever you say will not sink into my ears.
If you say, how can it be with somebody where there's no trust?
That's what I'm saying. But maybe for the sake of children, we now have children. I'm not going to leave, divorce, and then the children will not, there will be problems. So I'll keep the marriage, but then it will be just marriage.
Rev, will that be marriage if there's no trust and you're still always having thoughts as to where she's been, where he's been, what he's doing, what she's doing? Will that marriage really be a good marriage, successful marriage, happy marriage?
It will not. It will still be married, but it will not be a happy. It will not be a happy marriage. It will be an unhealthy marriage. If a trust is the foundation for every marriage, the moment the trust is not there, then even though you see yourselves as married, you cannot really enjoy the relationship as supposed to be. But if you see, the moment you're in a relationship and you decide that I am going to go into another relationship, it means that the first relationship should end.
No matter what?
Yes.
Even if it's not your wish to have ended it, but something compelled you to end it?
Yeah, the moment you decide I'm starting a new one, the old one should end.
And I agree.
You should not keep the two at the same time. That is why it should not happen that a night before, or some people even the same morning.
Wow.
It should not. Because the moment you had gone ahead that I'm going to marry this one, that one should have ended. But there's quite a number of people that are relating with rich people, but they know the rich people are not going to marry them. And the rich people actually finance their weddings or their marriage ceremonies for them. And sometimes, I'm not saying always, sometimes they try to say that we are ending everything with the last something. Yeah.
They call it the shag.
You call it what?
The shag.
This is your generation.
But Rev, is it possible to be in love with more than one person?
It is possible.
So if it is possible,
but the moment you decide that I am going to be with you, the love that I have for you will now restrain me from going any other place. The reason why I'm saying it is possible is this. That is why somebody can lose a partner but can marry again, and there's nothing wrong with that. You see, the fact that you love somebody doesn't mean you have to do something with the person. I hope you understand.
Yeah.
The fact that you love somebody doesn't mean that you
sleep with the person.
Yeah, so it is possible. That is why people can have two people they want to choose from. Then for some reason they said I want to go in for A or go in for B. But the moment you decide I want to go in for that, then the love that you have for that person now will restrain you from doing any other thing.
But James, you're married, and you've been married for like what, some 16 years?
18.
18 years. Now you were counseled by a counselor before you got married.
No.
You were not.
I don't believe in that.
Okay. Don't look at Rev. Rev, don't look at James.
Oh, James.
I don't believe in counseling.
But James, will you be surprised that people who want to have a wedding done, they would have been counseled by a counselor? Yeah. And so, are we therefore suggesting or saying that the counselor didn't do a good job on the two will be couples? Because here's a situation where you've gone through counseling. It could be 3 weeks, it could be 6 months. And a day before, or even like Reverend said, on that very day of the wedding, you decide to go do something, which means that the counseling didn't sink in.
Dave, if a man decides to sin, you bring Jesus Christ to counsel that person, he will still go ahead and sin. The counseling is just an advice, guide. And he or she had decided to sway. They know, they are aware that I'm going to get married to Joyce tomorrow, but let me go and have my last bite. It is intentional, deliberate.
Not to cut you, but I'm adding to yours. There's a specific case. He's a friend of mine, and with the counseling, it went like 6 months. Always, when he's going for the counseling, he will come with this. It looks like a pamphlet, and they have a list of things they are going to cross-check and study and all that. So when he comes back, then he crosses this one out. Yawiha. Meanwhile, he was doing the same thing that
he was not supposed to do.
Yes.
So Rev, let me come to you. If counseling works, should this be happening? Especially, I would tolerate or maybe understand when you've been married for like 5 years and you're being maltreated or certain things are not going well. Maybe I understand it's okay, fine, and but you've gone through counseling a day before your marriage, the morning of your wedding. Upon counseling and all, you do this. Does it make sense to you? doesn't mean that
What comes into my mind is somebody who goes to the university, wants to be a medical doctor, enrolls as a medical student, and learns all the things, and comes out as a bad medical doctor. There are some people there, they are learning it for some various reasons. That's why there are some people who come out and they will perform. And there are some people who come out and they will not perform. There are so many reasons why people will come for counseling. For some, it is a requirement, not because I want to learn anything. So he goes through it. So what is happening there does not really mean anything to the person.
Can't the counselor tell that whatever he or she is giving is sinking in or not?
Can you tell when Lewin is really crying or is not really crying?
Because you're giving help to this person.
Yes, but can you tell? David, if I come and sit before you and I said I'm having abdominal pains and I'm rolling, can you tell whether it is really true or not?
Well, but as a doctor, I'll try and give you whatever I think you need
Yes.
to help the situation.
Yes, no, it may not be. It's the same thing. The person comes there for counseling. He is acting everything. Who are you?
And so,
But the only good side of counseling is that sometimes the person, even though appeared not to be part, some years forward, it just begin to ring.
Okay.
And that's when then they may begin to realize that, oh, this is what was said, so let me try that.
Okay.
Is it counseling? Counseling is just like a training. People go to become apprentices for 3 years. Some come out better than their masters. Some come out, they can't even differentiate between a carburetor and a clutch. Yeah, it's the same thing. So don't run down counseling.
No,
I'm not. No.
He's not addressing.
No, James, don't feel.
He's speaking to general
if I'm talking about dry bones because of your age, you don't think that about you.
he's not an old woman.
The reason I'm saying that is that, in fact, this year I'm going to run. I'm calling it sharpening your tools.
Okay.
People need to know the skills, how to do proper counseling, because it's essential. Very, very essential. It doesn't mean that when somebody goes through counseling, all your problems will go away. It doesn't mean that. But I think it is better if I go through counseling and I don't even use it, as compared to I don't go through it at all. Okay. You are better off. Okay. Yeah.
James, I see you want to say something.
I have a different form of counseling.
I come to you, Erasmus. Thank you.
Yes. Supposing this last bite, your counselor didn't have that experience, so that's not addressed.
Oh, but we're talking about it on radio, and like I said, it is rumored out there. But indeed it is happening. But I just used the word rumored advisedly. So it is happening. So I'm sure they know of it. No. Reverend says he's counseled people.
No, you see, you don't compare Reverend Akwa to some counselors. Some counselors are just narrowed to what happens in the Bible.
Okay.
So when you go, they don't talk about realities. So when you come into the real world and you are confronted with some of these issues, then the lady or the man will find himself or herself wanting.
And adding to that, I think I agree with James on that score. In fact, some of the counselors, and like the friend who showed me that pamphlet, if you look at the kind of things they are going to discuss, to me, they are totally irrelevant to really solving the problem of the couple or trying to get down
if they get married.
Issues they have,
and the issues
what is going to help them really cope with the marriage. I think the best of counseling is between you and the one you're going to get married.
Yes. Because in the past, our parents never got counseling, counseled.
Yeah.
I'm sure they had elders and uncles and people who gave them.
David, if you give me just some 2 minutes, let him finish.
The kind of counseling they give is real life counseling, not necessarily being stuck to what happens in your church. But even nowadays they do it. He said, from the father's side, two people should give. Yes, they do it because they are not the kind of counseling or advice you get from the church.
Okay.
Because somebody will use his or her own experience. But in the church, you are told, oh, do this, you follow those things, and they expect that what happens at Sasuntres will happen at Ijazongo. No, because when you were getting married, you were staying at Sasuntres. The moment you got married, situation pushed you to Ijazongo, and it's going to be different ball game altogether.
Let me play David and ask you a question. So you did not do counseling?
No.
How has your relationship gone without it?
You tell him perfect.
No,
Fine.
not perfect.
Not perfect, but fine.
Not perfect. But the issue is, I have resolved and decided to get married. So no matter what happens, and because we are two different individuals, I should be able to accommodate her, and she should also. If she doesn't, I should be able to understand, because we are human beings. We all have our shortcomings. We should be there for each other. That is my resolve. So no matter what happens, I can manage it, because sometimes you sit in front of a counselor and you realize
Have you sat in front of one before? Have you?
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah,
but
so
I've seen some. No, but I've watched television programs where people are being cancelled.
Yeah, that's why I said I need some 3 minutes. I need some 3 minutes.
Rev, I give it to you.
I need some 3 minutes.
And just like Erastus was saying, some of my friends went through counseling, and they came back to tell me that this counseling is a waste of time.
But you yourself
and you never had any counselor who
and I asked them why. I asked them why. I said, the counselor no crowd to me. But mere formality. I have to go through.
But James, you made mention a while ago yourself.
And James, you have never met anybody who said I went through counseling. It has really helped me before. You haven't met some.
To him,
you haven't met some before.
No, I'm yet.
Best of the same feathers.
James, you mentioned yourself that looking at Reverend Akwa, you know him, you're close to him, so you cannot compare him to others.
Yes,
so which means that you have trust that there might be others who do a very good job, including him. But back to our conversation.
Every rule, there is an exception.
Back to our conversation.
Yeah.
If you should find out that the woman you're married to, a day before the marriage, was unfaithful, she went to have a last bite, and you find out, what would you do as Dave?
Why do you ask me this question?
I've asked you.
You should know the answer.
I don't tell me.
I can't continue with the relationship. I can't.
But she was not married to you at the time, was she?
She was committed to me. She was committed to me on the eve of sealing our commitment. Then you go and do it, and come and tell me that you are committed to me. You see, from that moment going, I will begin to doubt everything you've told me in the past.
What if after that,
telling me in the present, and what you are going to tell me in the future?
What about if after that she's been true and faithful?
How can I believe
what
that?
If?
It's a serious hypothetical
I have another thing to that. It will depend on how I heard it, how the information came out.
Came to you, okay.
If she told me herself, she came to me one day and said, something is bothering me, I need to confess. And then out of that, she told me that this is what I did before we got married. And I just want to ask for your forgiveness.
You ask seriously. Is that what you want to happen? If it should ever happen,
no.
Would you want to do that?
I am saying that
I don't think Ref can even.
No. He has a point. He really has a point.
If she came to me,
he really has.
pricked by conscience or pricked by or spoken to by God or something, and then she comes to me and confesses, okay, it will make it easier for me to forgive her and to trust her again.
Okay. Rev, I can assure you, I'll give you 2-3 minutes to talk about the counseling thing. I'm assuring you.
All right.
But before we do that, people who do some of these things, how are they able to live with themselves, even in that marriage?
Yeah, some really battle with it. Some really, it's not something they wanted, but it happened for various reasons. And sometimes people come around talking about it is still working on their conscience. So you help them to get out of it. Sometimes too, it even affects their sex life. It affects their sex life because you see, if somebody is not married to you and wants to do that, can really be crazy.
Especially the last bite.
Maybe you have a personal experience. But when you are married to somebody, a lot of times there's a lot of comportment and things like that. So that last one, for a crazy person, can really give a certain impression that can really continue to work on your mind. So it can be very bad.
How do you say no, even when the person has been good to you? It could be a sugar daddy you have, or somebody who's done some whatever amazing thing for you. Here you are, you found somebody you want to marry. The person is using that as a bait. Okay, give me one more bite before you settle down as a wife, because then that will be sinful. I can't have you, blah blah blah, and all that. Speaking as if the other one is not sinful. Question is, how do you handle it?
It may be difficult to say no, but you have to run away. You find a way to run away. It may be difficult. Based on what you are saying, the person has been good to you, has
maybe
sponsored
paid your
everything.
fees through university,
yes,
assisted you to
may
get
have
a
even
job.
given you the money for the marriage ceremony, and may have some even discussed with you that is going to happen. But around that time, you realize that my conscience is not accepting it.
So why did you go there? If your conscience tells you,
you may not have gone there because of that.
It could be that she wanted you to come for the money.
Yeah,
And
it can be anything.
Whatever before the marriage.
and the
If
agreement
person
was
really-
that on the day I'll give you the money, this is what will happen.
No, may not be that. What I'm trying to
It could be
say is that
anything.
whilst you were in a relationship with the person, the person said that, I'm really wishing you well, you're married, the day you marry, I'll be very happy for you. But the day you marry, a night before, we want to say some nice farewell to each other. You've talked about it.
Yes.
It could even be that you don't talk
And
about
at
it.
that time,
could even be
you
that
have
you don't
accepted it. You have
So
said-
agreement is
because-
agreement.
Oh, but James,
Uh-huh.
it's even possible that you never agreed to anything, but you know that, well, the person is already married. He understands that you're also about to get married. He's been your sugar daddy for like, what, 12 years or 7 years. He knows you're going to get married because he's not going to get married to you because he already has his wife. And then, for whatever reason, you pass by and he says,
Pass
hey,
by to do what?
anything. James, you're
For the
serious?
money?
Not money. It could be anything.
Dave.
Anything. Okay.
I can't take you from
But
the
the
streets.
person is not your enemy. So okay, say, oh, go chat.
No, then that one would be a rape. The rape is
I didn't say the person
different.
forced you. I didn't say the person forced you.
And you
I didn't say the person
agreed.
forced you.
You agreed.
Rev, come
No,
back
no,
to you.
no.
How do you say
James,
run? How do you
James,
run?
James.
How can you run?
James, I don't know. I think you yourself mentioned it, that the last girlfriend you had
Yes.
is now very close to you and even your wife.
Yes.
So it is possible you were in a relationship with somebody. Everything was okay. You wanted to marry, but along the line you decided not to marry. So between you and that person, you are not enemies. You are still on talking terms.
Yeah.
You are still visiting.
Yeah.
The mind was not like, I am going for James to do this thing to me. It was one of the normal visits.
So you visit and you say, hey,
no, but-
I'll tell you that's
That's what I'm saying. That's why he's saying. That's why David is asking. So the moment you start to make those approaches, what should the lady do? And that's what I'm answering.
Yeah, that's what he's answering.
Then you were asking, why did they do that to you?
James, hold on. Do you know that it could be that a month before, you're mere friends. Ohuan Bibiala, he sees you as a mere friend. 2 days before the wedding, anything happens, you just go to his home or his office, anything. And then he's like,
he tells you, let's do the last one.
It is possible.
He's not worrying to me.
And the last one. And happening.
No, we are not saying that.
They wanted it.
David's question is this.
But what
When it
happens?
happens like
What do you
that,
do?
what do you do?
Yes.
The lady.
Yes.
Whoever.
Yeah.
My question is, who compared there?
Thank you. And on that question,
So you don't allow Rev to answer the question for me?
on that question, I will have my bite.
Hold on. Let Ref handle it for me first. And you have your bite. Don't worry. You want to have your last
As for
bite.
you-
You want to have a last bite.
As for you being around that your former during the last days, it was possible because we don't assume that all relationships broke
On the bad note.
on the bad note.
Yeah.
Some of them were still friends. They talked about it and they agreed and they are going. But somebody can have a crazy mind at any time. And it can be that particular time. And when it happens like that, the person should be able to say no.
And he didn't say.
The person should be able to say
And he
no.
wasn't able.
If the person feels that my no, the saying of the no is not going to help, then the person at that moment should find a way to run out from that place.
And mine didn't run away.
Can I have my bite now?
Rev, have you finished answering the question for me? You said run. Difficult as it may,
Yeah.
how do you overcome the difficulty?
It can be very difficult because you see, when you are not enemies, then the thing like I'm going to hurt the person because he wants to do this thing to me may not come to your mind because you are not enemies.
Okay.
Oh, Rev, then we would have slept with so many women. Because there are several women we've made we've made attempts, but they said no, and they flee, and they fled. But this is the case. You didn't run, you didn't call for help. And you are telling me, and the guy didn't rape about. What is James talking about? The guy didn't rape you. So
I think
you agreed,
James.
on the eve of me getting married to you, you want to sleep with another man.
Yes.
And you want me to forgive you.
We are not talking about that. That's not a question. That's not the question. He's not asking you if you get to know what. He's asking the person who is in that situation, how can that person be helped? That's what we are talking about.
The question is, what did you go there to do?
Erasmus, what's your bite about?
It's still about the flee.
Okay, let me hear it.
Yeah. And the Bible says, flee from sin. Flee. Oh. I'm trying to get the meaning of flee. The dictionary version is not. Okay, it gives me here. It says, run away, run off. Make a run for it. Take flight. Be gone. Make off. Take off. Take to one's.
Don't look back. Just
Thank
go.
you.
Fine. So
see here. We're talking about preventive as well as let's stick to preventive. So what happened to you?
Mine is run from danger. Run from danger.
thank you.
So when we said flee,
and
each and every one of us knows our weaknesses, our weak spots. I know mine. I don't know whether you know yours.
I know mine very well.
Every lady knows their weak point.
Yeah.
They know that as for this guy, when he does this or he does that or he does that, I cannot run away from it. I will fall. So they don't go near the person. I'm very happy with Kofi Adudumfe's comment. He says, as for me, me say me ba dia, I'm here me fall, me tiahe. So when you know that you cannot control yourself around this person,
don't go
or there are situations where you cannot manage, why do you go there in the first place?
Any circumstance could bring
what
the
circumstance? You have broken up. You see, the moment you say I'm broken up,
James and
David,
people plan to do it. They do it. Some people plan to do it. They do it.
David,
some, unfortunately, it just.
I'm arriving at a point. Let me
and
learn.
it happens.
Then keep it to yourself. When it happens, don't tell me.
The moment you say I don't like this anymore, it's not like me pe kakra me pe. And I be a chile me pe and me kope. Debi me pebiem. I don't like it anymore. So let me finish now. Once you say you don't like it anymore, then you have to let it go. But if you like it and there's a possibility that you want to go back to it, then stay with it. Don't go for another person. Did you hear what Rev said? To the extent that you're saying that I'm not a married person.
No. I hope I want these young people just to be quiet, just the next 1 minute, and just listen to me, okay. Please, James, just listen to me.
Okay.
You are assuming that every relationship that somebody didn't want was on a bad note. It is no. True. There are some relationships that ended on a healthy note. It can be for various reasons. If one of them that about 3 days ago, the reason is that my parents say they don't want that tribe. We have talked about it. We have prayed about it for 2 years. We realized that still it will not work. So we have sat down and we agreed that we should go our separate ways. They are not enemies.
Let me even chip in something, Rev.
Yeah.
Here's a situation where, and I'm going to be blunt here. You are from the Volta region, and the woman is an Ashanti. The woman introduces you to the family, and the father and the mother say, listen, I don't want any Voltarian in my home. Yet you're in love with this guy. Your parents say no. The guy moves on. Maybe he's married. You're about to get married. You still have affection for this guy. Why? Because he's been wonderful in your life. You love him. But for your parents. And then he meets you and says, Charlie, as you're going to marry, Charlie, one more before you go. You think you will say no?
You see, David, you see,
David,
even with these two young people, I'm thinking that they are thinking that every relationship involves sex.
Okay.
Because
no.
hold on. As I'm thinking that they are thinking. All right. Because there are some relationships that they've been together and they've never had sex.
Yeah.
They were planning to marry. And something happened, they decided we're not going to marry. It doesn't mean they won't visit themselves.
What happened
again.
to restraint? What happened to control?
It doesn't mean they won't. Let me finish. It doesn't mean they won't visit themselves again. because they are still friends.
Let me ask you one simple question.
You don't create scenarios where something could happen.
Erastus.
If I visit you in the house and I know something could happen in the house and I cannot control it, I will come to the restaurant.
James, hold on. Erastus, let me ask you this question.
Yes.
So, are you saying that all your exes are your enemies?
They are not my enemies.
You're not on good terms
But
with
I won't
them?
visit them in the house.
Hold on. You're
I
not
won't allow them to come to my house.
So if you marry,
because I know I'm weak. If they should come to my house,
Erastus, you marry.
something might happen.
Erastus, so you marry and you're from work one day, you get home and you realize that your wife's ex is with her at home. You'll be mad.
My wife's ex
is with her at home.
Is with her at home.
It
depends.
Oh, it depends. Will you be mad?
Depends. Because for now, I know that they are no more and they are not seeing each other.
So you see,
and he has not told me
okay,
that the ex has a penchant of visiting and going.
So he visits like within 2 weeks. So I visited him 3 times. So we go.
Of course. Come on, boil it. Come on, boil it.
Under this circumstance, you're married and you realize that 3 years on, this is what your partner did. How should it be handled?
All right. You see, there are 2 things that could have happened, or 3. One would be the person himself or herself comes, and that's what the rest was saying.
You're talking about, yeah.
That I did this thing, I'm feeling bad about it. It's something that have been bothering me for all these years. The way your partner will handle it will be different from when the partner goes to hear about it somewhere. Then he comes to ask you, I have heard this thing happen. Then even with that, there can be 2 scenarios. The lady will say, no, or the man will say, no, nothing like that happened. Then you go and come again, nothing like that happened. Till after about 6 months, then he admits.
Yeah.
As compared to, you go to hear about it, you come and ask, then he admits, yes, it happened. It's not something I wanted. I even wanted to tell you, but it was difficult for me to tell you. This can be. But you see, after that, the way the 2 of you have lived, look at it.
It will not be the same again, would it?
Yeah. No, what I mean is that if you look at it, he did it or she did it before we got married. But for the past 3 years,
she's been good.
He's been good. Or he's been good. So then if he comes to talk about that, knowing maybe what the circumstances around it, the partner may be able to forgive and actually go on.
Okay. Rev, please indulge me.
Yeah.
03220-83596 is our telephone line. You can give us a call right now. Crazy things are happening out there. And so if after, let's say, 3 years of marriage, you realize that your partner had an affair with a lover or an ex just before, the day before your wedding, what would you do? After getting to know, what would you do? Let's talk about this on the phone lines as well. Erastus is here. He'll be helping me with Facebook comments as well. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dave.
Very well, sir. What's your name? Kofi Bajumba.
Yeah, Kofi Bajumba.
Kofi, welcome. Let's hear you.
Listening to Erastus. You see, David, I want to ask Reverend Akwa, from Genesis to Revelation, who was the first person God or Jesus Christ commissioned as a pastor or as a reverend as marriage counselor in the Bible? So the marriage counselors, whose example are they following? 2, David, in the days of our forefathers, there were no marriage counselors who were pastors and reverends and the rest. But the women were submissive. They were submissive.
I hear you.
And they were respectful to their husbands, and they listened to their husbands. Now that we have a whole lot of reverends and pastors being marriage counselors, marriages are collapsing here and there.
I hear you, Kofi. Thank you very much. We'll talk more about that, Rev. Don't worry. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Let me move on to this line. Let me try this line. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, David.
Hi, sir. What's your name, sir?
My name is Emmanuel, coming from Emina.
Emmanuel, welcome. Let's hear you.
Okay. I want you to ask James, if for no instance in his relationship, did he not think about sex, but had sex with his girlfriend before he got married?
You finish. He'll talk about it. You finish.
If this happened, it means somebody can go, I just want to say bye-bye to my ex, and it all happened.
Okay.
And what are you going to do about it? So it happens, but there are people who do it with other motives. These days, the girls will go, still be married, and then still be doing it.
Indeed. I agree with you.
That one happens. But
thank you very much, Emmanuel. Sorry, I'm rushing you guys on the phone lines. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dave.
Kalusha, welcome. Let's hear you, sir.
David,
I just want my answer from Mr. Akwa. You know, assuming it happens to me, and I just come to him. What will I do in such instances? 3 years down the line, I now, care about it. What will I do? I just want my answer to come from Mr. Akwa. Then I move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kalusha, for your call. Good afternoon to you.
Hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
What's your name, boss?
Yes, thank you. Regards to your panel.
I hear you. Yes, thank you. Let's hear you.
I beg your pardon. Tamala said, it's all the time, or, raining. Now you can't get somebody to break her virginity. So, of late, the church members have been doing age tests and this sort of thing. What happened? Yeah, remember I reply me.
Rev has a lot on his table. We'll play this afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Hi, what's your name?
This is Mrs. Amankwa.
Mrs. Amankwa, welcome. Let's hear you.
Thank you. I'll be very happy. But since it is in the past, what can I do? I'll let it go. I think the past will be some way.
Mrs. Amankwa says trust me some way.
I happen to find myself in that situation. In fact, I'll go and say in the name of God.
Okay.
Now don't do it.
Okay.
We should fear God than man. And please, before I go, are you aware that in our region, one of the regions in Ghana, parents, especially fathers, sleep with their daughters who are virgins. They break their virginity before they give them marriage. Are you aware?
No, I'm not aware, and I don't know the region. So maybe I'll make some time and ask you to call me privately, and then we'll talk about it, Mrs. Amankwa. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Rev, I said I was going to give you some time to talk about the counseling bed. You said you needed some 2 minutes. So talk about it for me now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, James, you've never been counseled before, so I'm surprised that he condemns it.
I said I don't believe in it.
As compared to those of us who have gone and seen experiences and seen people. You see, in the olden days, referring to our fathers and mothers, in fact, the way God made the world was like this. Parents are supposed to train their children the way they should go. So parents were available. Those times, mothers were most of the time around, talking to their daughters, talking to their sons. Fathers, as they go to the farm with their sons, talk to them. The system is not like that anymore. And the system is such that now the woman, the mother is out, the man is out. Unfortunately, the media, you yourself, James, you have produced movies with your ideas and put them in boxes and they're in people's room.
And the pastor has also watched my movies and having some of my ideas.
Rev, you know what?
So there's a way of helping people to know how to go about things. Is it the fact that driving school and people go to driving school and there are accidents? It doesn't mean driving school is bad.
It's bad.
It doesn't mean that.
Rev, let's end here.
And unfortunately, you see James, the way James and some other caller was talking about Reverend Minister and counsel, as if Reverend Ministers are counselors. They are two different things. And some of the things that you see on telly that if you call me for counseling hours and those things, they may not be counselors. Okay. You are talking about professional counselors.
Thank you very much, Rev. Unfortunately, Delali has a pen. If not careful, he might hit my head with it. His time is almost up for the sports. Erastus, I wanted you to read messages to help me out as well, but time is not on our side. Thank you very much, Erastus, for your time. Thank you very much, Reverend Vincent Takwa, for your time. So sorry if I didn't read your message on the show. James, thank you very much. Delali, good afternoon.